Hey there, Mary. I just read your essay entitled "Was the Atlanta Compromise a Compromise?" I like that. That's a good title for what you're doing in here. I think you have some beautiful writing in here. It shows a lot of careful proofreading. Um, there are a couple places that need commas a bit more. If you just keep studying comma rules, it'll help. Just for example, although they became opponents, Washington and Du Bois worked for the same cause, comma, albeit in different ways and using different strategies. They had different views. I don't think you need to have this section in here in your intro about um, Du Bois and Washington receiving accolades and sort of their backgrounds. You can, it's fine. It's just that you do it again later. You point it out again later about Du Bois. So it kind of belongs in one place, but not necessarily an introduction, just because it's kind of a little more detailed than you probably want in an intro. And you for sure wouldn't want to have it in two different places. Okay, so we move to your thesis. Washington's approach to achieving racial equality as opposed to that of Du Bois was more realistic for the South at that time because he called for a gradual change in the status quo through education, training, and healing and cooperation between the races, and eventually establishing a win-win situation. So there are some punctuation issues in here. His approach, um, and you'd put a comma here as opposed to that of Du Bois, comma, was more realistic for the South at that time because he called for a gradual change in the status quo through education and training, because you put those together later on in your topic sentence, um, and healing and cooperation between the races. So anyway, so it's okay, and it tells me where you're going. I like how you move straight into a thesis-derived topic sentence. I think that's excellent. Um, and so that's really good. But then you kind of move away from your thesis. If you've already talked about education and training, I'm looking at you talking next about healing. But instead, you start with W.B. Du Bois at first supported Washington's controversial speech delivered at the Atlantic Composition. It was later he dubbed Washington the Great Accommodator. Interesting information, but that's not thesis-derived content. So make sure that you are always moving your thesis along, you're always moving your essay along um, through the thesis, that you're moving point by point through the thesis. You talk about these really important decisions. I really like how you link the Plessy versus Ferguson to the Atlantic Compromise. I think it would have been good if you'd given us the year of the Atlantic Compromise. That's another thing, is when you're doing your MLA, you need to make sure that readers know where you're pulling your material. So you say from Up from Slavery and give it a page number, but if you look at the end of your essay, you don't have Up from Slavery here. I know that you pulled it from here, from the Kane William, but you didn't specify the article. So make sure you're doing correct MLA so that the reader can scroll down to your works cited and find where you got your content. Let's see. Then, what else did I want to tell you? So then you come back to the notable difference in the way that they grew up. So again, make sure it's in one place, and make sure that every topic sentence is thesis derived. You have great content in here, and you make a case for why Washington's strategies were better for that time, but you needed to shape a thesis that would match that content. So if it were me, it would probably be, Washington's methods in the compromise were more effective than Du Bois's because he called for this, this, and this, and then you would lay out that X, Y, and Z throughout the essay, and that would be good. So this is good. It could be even better. So I look forward to seeing what you write next.